Hello everybody and welcome to the Multimediale Werkzeuge Seminars Introduction. My name is Renato and I'll be conducting the seminars this semester together with Professor Schula. We will start here at the Moodle page of Multimediale Werkzeuge. Here you have some general information and here you will have our seminars introduction where you can find the materials. So there are basically three ways how you can access these materials. You can open in Colab. This is what I am going to show. You can view it in NBViewer, or you can go to the GitHub page and clone a repository or download files from there. So I'm opening here in Google Colab, and here you have the information concerning the introduction to the seminars. So this introduction is the same to all the seminars that we run at the Applied Media Systems group. So this semester we are having video coding, multi-rate signal processing and multimediale Werkzeuge seminars. The introduction is the same to all of them. So if during this introduction I mention something about video coding or multi-rate signal processing, don't worry. The only thing that change is the name and the dates. We will discuss the format of the seminars. So when you register for the seminars, and I'll explain how to register later, there is an option where you can vote if you prefer the seminars to be in presence or online. From my experience with video coding and multi-rate signal processing, the great majority of students are voting for online. For the online seminars, we will use Jitsi, and there is a link to the Jitsi room at the Moodle page. To register for the seminar, you must fill this form here. This is very important because we are using a new system. It's called the NBGrader. We are using this semester Jupyter Notebooks assignments. So if you're not familiar with Jupyter Notebooks, don't worry, I will talk about it in this introduction. I will also explain about NBGrader. So if you follow this introduction, there are video tutorials, there are written materials, and I hope that with this information you are able to configure your system and to do your assignments. So here it's very important that you put your first name, your last name. This is your TU Ilmenau email. You cannot use other emails that are not TU Ilmenau because we are going to use Nextcloud to share a folder, and this folder is going to be used to fetch assignments and to submit assignments, and I can only share from TU Ilmenau Nextcloud when you use a TU Ilmenau email. Another very important thing is your matricle number, because this is going to be your student ID during all the seminars. This is how I will know who submitted what. There will be folders specific for your matricle number, so please don't forget to put correct your number here. Here is a very important topic. So this is the dates planned for our seminars. So we will try to do a one group on the odd weeks on Thursdays from 11 to 12:30. These are the planned dates, but check the course homepage constantly, check your emails because these dates can change. Another very important thing is that you are supposed to take a look at the seminar materials before the seminars. So before our online meetings, it would be ideal if you could go through the materials, check the task that you need to do, see if you understand everything, because our online meetings is the chance you have to ask questions of things you don't understand. So the more you work before our seminars on the task, more chances you have to maybe have some questions, you have some doubts, maybe something didn't work out the way you expected, and you have an opportunity to ask, and we can try to solve together during our online meetings. There are some requirements to participate in the seminars. First, you must use Linux. So it's not possible to submit the assignments using a different operating system. It is possible to solve the assignments maybe using Windows or using whatever you want, but to submit we need Linux, and in the specific format that will be the Jupyter Notebooks that you are going to fetch from our NBGrading system. There will be instructions on how to use the NBGrading system, so don't worry. So at our group, we use Ubuntu. If you want to use a different Linux flavor, then you are on your own. If you use Ubuntu, we can try to help you in case you have some problems. So the assignments are to be solved using Python and Jupyter Notebooks, and the assignments are fetched and submitting using NBGrader and Nextcloud. For our online seminars, we will use Jitsi. So Jitsi is an open source voice and video conference platform that you can use on Windows, Linux, Mac, iOS, Android, and you find the link to our Jitsi channel at our Moodle page. So if you're not familiar with Linux, there are basically three options how you can use Linux. You can use it as your main operating system, you can use it as a dual boot, or you can use it inside a virtual machine. So if you want to install it as your main operating system, there is a link here, and here you find a tutorial on how to do it. If you want to install alongside with Windows in a dual boot, there is also a tutorial here on how you do it. And if you want to use a virtual machine, for example VirtualBox, you will also find a tutorial here. We will use Python in the video coding course and the video coding seminars. So if you're not familiar with Python, you should start getting familiar with it as fast as possible. I can recommend you two tutorials. One is a very basic tutorial in a style of a cheat sheet. So you will find here at this GitHub. So there is just some basic instructions, what are some data structures, some for loops, while loops, dictionaries, functions, classes, and then some help commands, and then there's an exercise that you can try to solve. Another tutorial is the basics of digital audio signal processing and machine learning for audio using programming languages. So basically this is a from zero to hero course where you need no background or experience, and we learn through examples, and you can see it in both ways. So if you want to learn Python using audio DSP and machine learning examples, or if you want to learn audio machine learning and digital audio processing using Python, this will suit you. So you find the videos here, and you also find a GitHub on the description of each video to download the code. So Python comes pre-installed in Ubuntu. However, I highly recommend that you use a virtual environment. So Python is a great language. It's very nice for prototyping. It's easy to learn, but I find it very, very tricky because of the dependencies and the versions of libraries. You are one day working in a code and you're using some libraries in certain versions, then after a few months you update and everything's broken and nothing is working anymore. So especially with backwards compatibility, you may find yourself in very tricky situations. So if you use a virtual environment, you can have this virtual environment specific for your project. Then if you want to change some libraries, you can create a new environment, make the changes, see if it works. If not, you can just delete your virtual environment. Or you want to, suppose you have a project using Python 2.7 and another project using Python 3.8 or whatever, so you can have separate environments. So I recommend basically two types of virtual environments. One is called Conda, which is a package dependency and environment management for different languages. So you can use Python, R, C, C++, Java, and so on. Here, there's a broken link. So Conda. So here you find the documentation for Conda. And you also have VEnv. Also, they're inverted. I just need to fix this. So VEnv, it's also a virtual environment, but allow you to manage separate Python package installations for different projects. Here you have some instructions on how to use VEnv. Another very interesting thing is Anaconda, which is a very nice solution that combines a Python distribution. It comes with Conda, so you have your dependency and environmental management, and it comes pre-installed with most of the Python packages that we are going to use. So here you have how you can download Anaconda and the documentation. So we use Jupyter Notebooks in the video coding course. Jupyter Notebooks is a web-based interactive computing platform. So the notebooks combines live code, equations, narrative text, visualizations. So here is a link for Jupyter Notebook. Then you find how to install, and you find also the documentation. Installing Jupyter Notebooks depends on the virtual environment that you choose. So if you are using VEnv, here is the instructions how to install with pip. And if you're using Conda, here are some instructions on how to install using Conda. So if you're not familiar with Jupyter Notebooks, I can recommend this tutorial, Introduction to Google Colab for Research, especially the 3 first tutorials. So Google Colab is based on Jupyter Notebooks. There are a few differences, but the basic concepts are the same. So here you find also a playlist, and especially these first 3 here, then it gets more advanced and more specific to the Colab environment, which is running on the cloud. Jupyter Notebooks you will run on your local machine, but if you are not familiar, here we talk about text cells, code cells, an overview of the Colab, and you can check if you find some other interesting topics. So Nextcloud is a suite of client-server software for creating and using file hosting services. So we will use it for file exchange. We will provide you with the assignments in a shared folder. When the file is available, you can download this file, then you solve your assignment, and then you submit using this exchange folder. So as a student at TU Ilmenau, you have access to the TU Ilmenau Nextcloud, and here you will find all your folders and shared folders and things like this. Or you can use a Nextcloud desktop client, and here's how you install the Nextcloud desktop client in Ubuntu. Then after you installed your Nextcloud desktop, you need to enter your TU Ilmenau information, and then you will be able to use the Nextcloud. And here there is a tutorial installing Nextcloud desktop client on Ubuntu and configuring the TU Ilmenau cloud for exchange. We will use NBGrader for managing and evaluating students' homeworks. So the NBGrader is a tool that facilitates creating and grading assignments in Jupyter Notebook. And here you find information about NBGrader, how to install, documentation, but you don't need to worry too much in the details. You're just going to use it as a student, and it's pretty straightforward. It can be tricky sometimes, maybe some bugs, but hopefully everything will run smoothly. Here you find a tutorial how to install NBGrader and how to configure to use the Nextcloud Exchange folder for our assignments. Finally, we prepared the student's workflow on how to use NBGrader, and here's a tutorial. So you can use the command line, and some functionalities also available using the browser. So you have a directory that you need to set up as a working directory. Then you also need to set up your Nextcloud Exchange. Everything is explained here and also in this step-by-step tutorial. So that's it for our seminar's introduction. Go through the materials. There are a lot of tutorials. Check our course homepages, and I see you next time.